1959 million visitors, endless arrivals, flashing skylines, luxury cars. Then, suddenly, silence. No footsteps, no cameras. Just empty spaces where global energy once lived. Dubai wasn't just a city. It became a global tourism superpower, a destination engineered to attract wealth, attention, and constant movement from every continent on Earth. Nearly $30 billion flowed yearly through tourism alone. Hotels, malls, experiences, all designed to extract maximum spending from every visitor stepping into this desert metropolis. Each tourist spent significantly more compared to cities like London. Dubai wasn't cheap. It was designed to be expensive, aspirational, irresistible. But behind this success sat a fragile equation. Tourism, real estate, and foreign capital formed the core. Remove one, and the entire system begins to tremble. Dubai didn't produce like industrial economies. It attracted, it hosted, it monetized global movement. Its strength depended on outsiders continuously choosing to come, spend, and stay. This created an economy built on perception, safety, luxury, perfection. Every detail curated to maintain the illusion of a flawless global playground without visible cracks. At the center of this spectacle stood icons like Dubai Mall, not just a mall, but a symbol of excess, attraction, and controlled fantasy. Everything worked as long as the image stayed intact, as long as the world believed Dubai was untouchable, safe, stable, always open for business, always growing. But there was a hidden weakness no one wanted to acknowledge. This wasn't just an economy. It was a confidence machine fueled entirely by global trust. Trust is invisible. You can't store it in banks, you can't build it with steel, yet it holds up entire cities, markets, and billion-dollar industries. And when trust cracks, it doesn't warn you. It doesn't collapse slowly. It disappears instantly, like a crowd vanishing after a sudden alarm. So the real question is not about money, buildings, or records. It's deeper, more dangerous. What happens when the foundation itself, trust, simply disappears overnight? It didn't start with an explosion. It started with tension, quiet headlines, subtle warnings, a shift in tone across the Gulf region that most people ignored. Then the signals intensified. Airspace alerts, flight reroutes, regional uncertainty spreading across maps. What looked distant suddenly moved closer to global travel routes and decision-making systems. Within hours, confidence began to crack. Not physically, but psychologically. And in a city like Dubai, perception is everything. Once shaken, everything follows. Airlines reacted first. Routes adjusted. Delays increased. Travelers hesitated. The smooth global connectivity that powered Dubai's rise started showing visible signs of disruption. Then came the cancellations. Thousands of bookings wiped out within days. Hotels, tours, luxury experiences, all suddenly facing a wave of unexpected emptiness. At the same time, travel insurance costs surged. Risk models updated instantly. What was once affordable became expensive, pushing many travelers to reconsider or completely cancel their plans. This wasn't just a slowdown. It was a demand shock, a sudden, sharp withdrawal of global interest triggered not by economics, but by fear. And in that moment, Dubai's true export was exposed. It wasn't oil, it wasn't goods, it was perceived safety, packaged and sold to the world. When safety feels uncertain, luxury loses its meaning. No one enjoys five-star experiences while questioning what might happen next. Comfort disappears the moment fear enters the equation. This became the psychological turning point. Tourists paused, investors hesitated. Decisions that once took weeks were now made in seconds. Cancel, delay, withdraw. Markets react to numbers, people react to emotion. And Dubai's entire system was deeply connected to how people felt, not just what they calculated. The reality is simple but brutal. Luxury destinations survive on emotion, excitement, aspiration, confidence. Remove those, and the entire experience collapses instantly. Fear spreads faster than any marketing campaign, faster than recovery plans. Once it begins, it moves silently through decisions, conversations, and global perception. And just like that, the foundation started breaking. Not because something ended, but because something invisible changed. Trust turned into doubt. Confidence turned into hesitation. The breakdown didn't happen in one place. It spread across systems. Air, money, and real estate. Three pillars that once powered Dubai's unstoppable rise began weakening together. First came aviation. Dubai's identity as a global transit hub started losing strength. The constant flow of passengers slowed, disrupting the rhythm of international connectivity. Pressure mounted on Dubai International Airport. Once the busiest gateway, it now faced delays, cancellations, and a noticeable drop in global passenger movement. Flight disruptions didn't stay isolated, they rippled outward. Retail stores saw fewer customers. Hotels lost bookings. The entire transit-driven economy started shrinking rapidly. Dubai was built on movement. When planes stopped, spending stopped. The seamless system connecting travel to consumption began breaking apart piece by piece. Then came the second shock, money. Capital began moving quietly but quickly. Investors started shifting funds to safer, more stable global financial centers. Cities like Singapore and Zurich became preferred destinations for wealth-seeking stability and lower perceived geopolitical risk. Foreign direct investment slowed, confidence weakened. The steady inflow of external capital, once Dubai's lifeline, began to dry up under growing uncertainty. Banks started feeling pressure. Liquidity tightened. Like when money leaves faster than it arrives, even strong financial systems begin to show cracks. And then came real estate, the most visible layer of the system. The market that symbolized wealth now began reflecting stress and imbalance. Oversupply met falling demand. Properties remained unsold. Inventory increased. What once felt scarce and exclusive suddenly became abundant and difficult to move. Luxury property prices faced pressure. Sales slowed down. High-end units that once sold quickly now sat on the market, waiting for buyers who never came. Megaprojects like Palm Jebel Ali experienced delays. Construction slowed. Massive development stood still, exposing the risks of long-term speculative expansion. The shift was undeniable. Assets that once generated wealth started becoming liabilities. Maintenance costs remained, but income streams began disappearing rapidly. In a system built on continuous demand, even a small disruption creates massive consequences. Without buyers, renters, or visitors, the entire structure begins collapsing inward. What once looked like unstoppable growth now revealed its true nature: fragile, interconnected, and highly dependent on constant external flow to survive. The final phase wasn't financial, it was human. A silent exodus began, not with panic, but with decisions. Quiet departures that slowly drained the city's energy. Dubai's population structure made this inevitable. The majority were expatriates, people connected not by roots but by opportunity, contracts, and temporary residency tied to employment. When jobs disappeared, residency vanished with them. There was no buffer, no long-term security. Losing income meant losing the legal right to stay in the country. This triggered a rapid outflow. Engineers, managers, workers, everyone started leaving, not emotionally, but logically. Survival demanded movement towards safer, more stable environments. The impact spread quickly. Schools lost students, teachers resigned. Classrooms that once represented global education became quiet spaces, struggling to maintain basic operations. Service industries followed. Restaurants, salons, domestic services, all dependent on population density, began shrinking as demand collapsed alongside the disappearing workforce. Local consumption declined sharply. Fewer residents meant less spending. The internal economic engine, already weak, now faced a deeper contraction from within. As Dubai weakened, others adapted. Regional competitors quietly positioned themselves to capture what was being lost: talent, capital, and global attention. Cities like Riyadh and Doha began attracting professionals and investors seeking stability and long-term opportunity. This wasn't just movement, it was redistribution. Skills, knowledge, and financial resources were shifting across the Gulf, reshaping the regional balance of power. Dubai now faced a structural reality check. Its model, built heavily on tourism and image, was being tested under conditions it wasn't fully designed to handle. The city was forced to rethink its strategy. Dependence on perception and luxury alone was no longer enough in a world increasingly shaped by uncertainty and risk. This moment raised a deeper question. Was this the collapse of a system, or the painful beginning of transformation into something more stable and sustainable?